We're good.
Are we live?
Yes.
Let's fucking go. All right, Iris, are you with us?
Yes, I am ready. I'm
Okay.
alive.
Cool. So, I will ask you the same question I had asked everyone else. What is Rosette's dream? Oh, there's no Joe here. That's why there's no fucking music. Give me a second. I was like, wait. There's no ambiance. Fucking Joe was not here. He has prior commitments. How dare he have a social life? Um,
See, this is why we just need to like steal Claire and make her join everything, because then half of his social commitments don't matter anymore because he's here. That's why we have the entire queue. Half of their prior commitments are now on the server.
You do tend to get 2 out of 3 of us.
Is this copyright free? I don't know. Under Creative Commons, is that what that is?
If it's under Creative Commons, usually it's good.
Okay. Oh, give me a second.
One day we shall have all of the queue in one game, and we shall all fear.
What's there to be afraid of?
Ma'am, I saw what happened when it was just the three of you in a game. I was the only one to witness every session of that.
We had fun. It was a lot of fun.
Fear.
Right. So, I think
You can ask Iris the question while you're looking for.
Oh yes, I'm very, very sorry. What is Rosette's nighttime routine? Like, what does she do before she goes to bed?
Her nighttime routine probably is like, bathing and then brushing her hair. Very, feminine things to do. But I think she maybe journals a bit of writes. She usually does that either right before sleep or right when she wakes up.
Okay. And she's been staying at the tavern, right?
Yes. Preferably, yes.
Yeah. So, do you think she did her journaling before, or she went to bed, or was she going to save that for the morning?
So what happened in the last session that we fought a giant?
Yes.
I think she may have started some journaling that night.
The most recent thing before this was the conversation at the tavern where we found out about Clint.
Yeah. Okay. Then yeah, she's probably journaling her currently, like before bed. Might elaborate more on it when she wakes up.
Like getting the gist of her thoughts down.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Rosette, you go to bed, you put your journal away, ready to expand on your ideas in the morning when you have more time. And when you wake up, it's very comfortable, it's very warm, and as you wake up and start thinking about going over that journal entry that you just made, you realize that you're not in the tavern anymore. You're not in the room that you've slowly made your own. Instead, you're in your bedroom at your home. Can you describe to me what Rosette's bedroom looks like?
Oh no. It's very ornate, very fancy, kind of typical of an oval. Um, there's a lot of there's a lot of art and things kind of decorating the walls. There's like paintings. There's a few. There's a big like glass case kind of thing with just fancy antique kind of things. There is a really pretty like knife dagger kind of thing, very ornate and jeweled and whatnot, but it you can tell that it's kind of dulled down and it's locked away inside the case, inside another like smaller glass case kind of thing.
Strictly for display.
Strictly for display. Uh it's I kind of imagine the walls are very white and very crisp and clean. There might be some something akin to you know uh you know those like as a kid you have those night lights that like put stars on the ceiling kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine she has some kind of contraption like that, like a candlestick or whatever with a bulb to put on top of it kind of thing. And they're kind of scattered on different parts of the room. Uh but it's very clean and ornate, and there's not it seems a little over the top, I guess is what I'm trying to say. The bed is huge and very cushy. Like maybe overly cushy, too many pillows even. And it is a canopy bed because of course it's a canopy.
Does she have the curtains shut?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so she's shielded from the rest of her room. I imagine her silk canopy sheets. I forgot what those are called. But I imagine it's bougie as fuck.
Yeah. The canopy is actually multi-layered. There's like a thin inner layer so you can kind of see out, but then the outer layer actually like blocks things off, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Gotta be
Oh,
extra as fuck, you know?
of course, of course. It's gotta be. So, while Rosette cannot see the rest of her room because it's closed by the silk Gucci brand name sheets, she knows where she is. There's no mistaking the sheets and the bed and the overall shape of the room that she can see through the half-transparent sheets that are blocking her. And what's she feeling as she wakes up here?
At first, a little bit of, okay, where I'm like the slight panic of like, wait, this isn't where I fell asleep. And then there's a slight bit of resignation. Like, okay. Well, I figured it would happen at some point. And she kind of feels like, okay, let's get this over with. That vibe.
Alright. Does she leave the bed?
After a moment to kind of get the innocent act ready, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, as she unties the little curtain separating her bed from the rest of the room, and Ope steps out off the bed, the first thing that she sees is her room in absolutely pristine condition. Everything, it's in its place. there's not a single speck of dust or clutter to be seen. It's perfect. And as she steps forward a bit, ready to get ready for the day, it starts to dawn on you that it's almost too perfect. And Rosette, you said your walls were white, right?
Correct.
You notice that that's not the case anymore. Your walls are now white and gold. Vertical golden strips going all along the walls. And it's not until she gets closer to one of the walls that she realizes those aren't walls. Instead of your regular pristine white walls, you see that your walls have been replaced with bars, golden bars. And as you look up, you see that the shape of your room has shifted a bit. It's a bit more circular. The top of your room is no longer a ceiling. It's now vaulted, and it comes to a point in the center. And Rosette, it looks like you're in a cage. A beautiful, glittering, golden cage, but it's a cage nonetheless. And you don't see a door anywhere.
Okay. A bit more panic, but still move from wall to wall and start kind of like, I don't know, tapping on it, I guess. Trying to find some kind of like, okay, there has to be a door somewhere.
Mm. Try as you might, there's no door. It's just enough space in between the bars for you to put a hand through. And as you're searching, and after you see that there's no door, there's no latch, there's no opening anywhere, you hear voices. Very familiar voices of your parents calling out to you. As your voices start getting closer and you hear footsteps.
She'll look around for try and find where the voices are coming from. But she'll pull her arm in from the cage, not
Mm-hmm.
not trying to seem like she was trying to get out.
And for a second, you're not sure where the voices are coming from. And then, all of a sudden, you feel the earth beneath you just shift and move. As suddenly, your room is flying up into the air. And you brace yourself on one of your bedposts to make sure that you don't lose your footing. And your room comes to a stop. And what you see in front of you is the smiling face of your mother, giant. And you see that she's holding the cage in front of her. And you see the face of your father, looking proud right next to her, also looking in at you. They're smiling at you.
I'm sure this dream logic is very strange, but dream logic, this is obviously normal. Um, she just kind of looks at them in confusion. It's like, what? And kind of signs to them, what is this? I guess technically it'd be right, huh? I guess, yeah, she'd look around for, you know, her pad of paper and pen.
Mm-hmm.
And, write, what is this? What's going on?
They kind of peer in to squint at your little piece of paper before you see your mother just beam even brighter as she gives a little finger wave at you. So, what this is, my dear, is You woke up a little late, but it's alright. It's perfectly fine for you to wake up a little late. Are you alright?
Nod. I would like to. Why is my room like this? Kind of scratches out.
We did some redecorating while you were gone. We didn't want. Well, it's dangerous out there. We want to make sure that you're safe and sound. Isn't it really pretty? We got just the very best for you.
She kind of turns her head to look at the room. Little bit of a frown, but she tries to cover it up. Before she turns back to her mother and she said, well, how can, or like, I can't get out. How am I supposed to be with you?
That's the best part. Everything you'll ever need is in there, so there's no reason for you to leave. And I can just bring you with me wherever I go. So we won't ever be apart.
But can you please let me out?
And risk you getting hurt?
Mother, I won't get hurt.
But what if you do? We can't let anything happen to you. You're too important to us. We love you too much to let you get hurt.
I love you and Father too, but I can't just stay here forever.
Of course you can. What else do you need? If you need something, we can get it for you. If you want, we can even take your room outside to get some fresh air and sunlight, but not for too long. We don't want any dogs and cats that can bat at your cage.
But what about my friends? And what about the company?
Well,
I can't learn to run the company from here.
you can learn by being with me and your father while we work. And your friends can come and visit you whenever we're not busy.
Mother, please, just I don't want to be here.
But there's. You know, sweetheart, I think that we should take some time and you should think of it. You've had a very exciting time, and, well, you just were in a crash that was very dangerous for you. So I think we're going to put you down here, and I will see you later after you have some time to be in safety. I'm sure this is just you lashing out after being in such a dangerous and traumatic wreck. So I will be back later, and we can keep talking about this. But your favorite food is already waiting for you. I had them make it especially just for you.
Rosette kind of looks down a bit, but nods and writes, "Thank you, Mother."
Of course, Rosette. We love you. I'll see you later. And with that, your room is slowly lowered back to where it was. And as you peer out a bit, it was too far away at first, but you notice that you're in what looks to be one of your parents' offices? Something like that. It's hard for you to see. The entire room looks gigantic from where you are. But your mother puts the cage down, and her footsteps trail off. You don't see her or your father anywhere. You are alone again. Your favorite food is in fact waiting right on your table, complete with a handwritten note with lots of X's and O's and hearts, signed both of your parents.
Rosette'll wait till they leave. Look at the food. And she'll kind of, I don't know, I just imagine it's like some kind of weird finger food kind of thing.
What's your
And
favorite?
favorite?
Mm-hmm. It's your favorite food. What is it?
What's her favorite food? I'm imagining some sort of pastry.
Croissant.
No, not a croissant. Some sort of baked good. That's what she really likes. It as a treat kind of thing.
Mm.
And
All right.
that with a very particular tea.
All right.
Very spicy tea.
It's waiting for you on your tray. You don't remember how it got there. It wasn't there when you woke up.
She'll pick a small piece off of the pastry and pop it in her mouth as she kind of double checks that her parents are gone.
Coast is clear.
Summon sword, if possible.
She can summon her blade.
Okay, let's try and get a chink in this cage here.
As you summon one of your blades, do you like try to throw it, or do you just slash at it?
No. She kind of summons it in more of a dagger form rather than like a short sword form, and it's gonna try and like chisel her way out, make smaller, very precise kind of cuts in one particular area, maybe kind of hidden by it.
Shawshank, this shit.
Yeah, kind of more hidden, like towards her bed, so like maybe the canopy can kind of hide it a little bit. Okay. If you were looking at her from,
So, as your blade makes contact, trying to chisel away, and it lets out a very, very quiet but high-pitched scratch and kind of screech as the metal hits the metal. For a second, you think, oh, did they hear that? But you don't hear any rushing footsteps of concern racing towards you. So coast is clear, and as you continue to try to chisel away at this, you hear another voice.
Desummon weapons, sit on bed. Kind of like...
It's kind of the second that you make your first and second scratch, you hear the voice of... Oh man, it's been so long, so please forgive me for inconsistencies.
No problem, Bob.
Okay, it's been a hot fucking minute, and I don't remember the voice I did for this person. You hear the voice that the last time you heard it, it was when you went picking a fight you probably shouldn't have. As you hear in your mind the unmistakable voice of Queen Titania. And it's not until you've made 2 or 3 scratch marks into the golden bars that you just hear her pipe up. I don't think they're going to be happy about you ruining their cage.
Why am I not surprised that you have something to do with this?
I have nothing to do with this, actually.
Right. She just chisels harder in response.
And what will they think when they find their perfect daughter planning an escape?
They won't find out, obviously.
The scratch marks are pretty hard to hide.
Not that I don't see any benefit in telling you my plan to get out of here. Honestly, you probably would hinder me more. But she does kind of look over her shoulder a bit to make sure her parents aren't there
Mm-hmm.
before continuing again. She does, like I said, she's kind of cutting really close to the bed frame so that
Mm-hmm.
the canopy could hide it a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of her goal.
Mm-hmm.
But just making it just small enough that she can, I don't know, bend it or just make it a bit easier to kind of like crawl out, essentially.
Mm-hmm. She's quiet for a second until she pipes back up. I'm a bit curious about you. I have some questions, if you don't mind me asking.
You're gonna ask whether I want you to or not.
Why do you bother hiding it?
Hiding what?
Your little escape tunnel. Why bother hiding it?
Because unlike some nobility, others like to keep up appearances.
They're going to know if you left, whether you hide it or not, so why bother?
What they don't know won't hurt them.
And
I
why
hope
bother hiding that?
because it gives them peace of mind.
Can you repeat that, please? I'm very sorry.
Oh, because it gives them peace of mind.
Is that why you wear a mask all the time?
She is kind of silent at that, not really sure how to respond. Instead of responding again, she's focusing on her work kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's a knife against a solid gold bar.
Yep.
So it's gonna take some time.
Yep.
It's very slow going.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think I hit a nerve. I have some more questions for you. Why do you bother with the mask?
It's what's expected of me.
You're also expected to not talk back to a queen, yet here you are.
And that's what the mask is for.
You just pick and choose when to wear it.
Isn't that part of the point of the mask?
It can be. It only depends on if you care what other people think. Why do you care what other people think about you?
Why shouldn't I? Rosette. Oh, sorry.
No, good.
Rosette kind of is slowing a bit at her work and kind of sits on her knees a bit. Kind of focusing a bit more on the conversation now.
Did she say anything, or is she just focusing more?
No, she just said, I forgot what I said. Frick. It just, she was focusing more, she's like slowing down essentially and
Mm-hmm.
focusing a bit on the conversation. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's like, I see I've got your attention now. It's only a fair trade. You see, you got my attention.
You don't have my attention. I could care less about you.
Really? But you care about what other people think of you. That's why you still try to be perfect, even though we both know that you're far from it.
If I want any sort of independence, if I am to earn any sort of independence from my parents, then I have to be perfect. Happy?
I'm a bit confused. See, I thought that someone brave enough to talk back to a queen wouldn't be such a coward.
That definitely struck a nerve.
Do you really think being compliant and their perfect little princess is going to get you independence? No, that's not how you do that.
Well, at least I'm not forcing my will upon others, unlike some people.
Independence comes with a price. It's not given, it's taken.
Why can't there be a little of both?
That's a bit naive and. Well, there is a bit of nuance to it. That's if you're kind enough to care about them. But then again, you are someone who's stuck in a cage and someone who has been in a cage all their life, so I see why you're asking so many questions about it. I do have a piece of advice. If you're willing to listen to me, that is.
Again, I didn't ask for it, but I assume you're going to tell me anyways.
You are a quick learner. Now, I just have a question. You want to be independent from your parents. Is that right?
Yes.
Why are you still being perfect? If you want your independence, if you want to not have to be at their beck and call and be their perfect little princess who never steps out of line, why not just let all of that go? Why not show them how messy and imperfect you can be? Don't you want to just yell? Don't you want to scream sometimes? Don't you want to tell people what you're really thinking? And that you don't care about the social politics of the situation, and that you'd rather be somewhere else? Don't you want to tell them that you don't need bodyguards near you? That you're capable, really capable? Don't you want them to step back and let you do what you want?
As much as easy as that sounds, no matter what I do, they won't see that.
And you think being compliant is your best ticket to freedom?
It makes them happy.
Have you forgotten that your happiness also matters? Because it does. And being compliant isn't going to get you power. You know they're just going to marry you off to someone, and all the power is going to go to him, because, as far as they can see, you're not capable.
Rosette is clenching her fists and biting her lip a bit. She's getting kind of pissed off.
Oh, did I strike another nerve? I am terribly sorry that that happened.
You and I both know that's bullshit.
Bit crude language to use in front of royalty, don't you think?
That would have to mean I consider you royalty, wouldn't it?
You're willing to talk to me like this, but you won't even stand up for yourself in front of your parents. It's a bit pitying, actually.
If you're just gonna sit here and mock me, get the hell out of my mind.
If you really, really want me to, I can step away for a bit, but I'm not leaving permanently. You're too interesting,
As you said,
entertaining. What'd you say?
oh, I just said, as you said, and she'll just kind of huff and be like, well, if you're going to watch, be silent. I have work to do. Rosette's gonna stand up, and I don't know if this is how it works, but can she see a some sort of ledge or anything that she could kind of get out? Like if she were outside, she could kind of land on safely.
So, how I imagine it is this is essentially on, like, their desk.
Okay, so yeah, she's on a flat surface. Then.
Yeah, she's
It's
on a
not
flat
like
surface.
it's not like she's on a
A
floating
hook.
island.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
no.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they
Okay,
have
okay.
her. That'd be too dangerous. What if she fell? They would never put her on a hook.
Well, they also could have put her on a pillar
That's true.
kind of thing in the
No.
middle of literally nowhere.
No, no, no. They want to keep her close, so she's on their desk.
Okay. Let's see if this will work. She's going to try and Twilight Step out. I doubt it's going to work, but
I'm willing to listen.
or Starlight Step, sorry, is what it's called.
What does that do again?
It's basically Misty Step.
Ah!
It's space themed Misty Step.
Roll me a charisma check.
Oh, I have Rosette dice. Hang on. One second. Let me cut this.
Oh shit.
I have Rosette dice.
I forgot I got you those. I'll be honest.
Give me like 2 minutes to grab them.
Okie doke.
While she is doing that,
Mm-hmm.
I think
You
I
think?
may have found a thing.
Oh. Is it? Holy shit, is it?
I don't know if that's the right one.
You found it! Yes!
Holy shit! Shout out to Z.
Holy fucking shit! Oh my gosh! Z, thank you so much!
You are welcome.
I know what I am watching next chance I get. I haven't seen this movie in over a decade. Let's fucking go.
See, this is the true superpower that college gives you. It's the ability to find anything for free.
Let's fucking go. Hey. Alright, any of y'all want to watch a fucked up 2009 Indian movie with me?
Sounds good.
Not gonna make Mr. Amy watch that one?
No, he's going to ruin it if I do. It's got like some of the acting's a little cheesy, it's a little over the top. There's some fucking content warnings in it. It's like part horror movie, part fucking fantasy history.
True Bollywood weirdness.
Mm-hmm.
I advise. Well, I shouldn't advise this. If you want to take the risk, because it is a questionable website,
Mm-hmm.
but if you want to take the risk and have a place to tuck it on your computer, I might consider downloading it so that you have a copy.
Worth the risk.
I have the dice.
Do not
Welcome
blame
back.
me if the risk comes back to bite you, but it is just a thought.
Understood. Download it on a flash drive. Won't do shit, but will make me feel better. Welcome back.
Mercy.
Alright, roll me a charisma check.
Okay. Where's my flashlight? 11 plus 3, so 14.
14. So, as you try and starlight step onto the ledge you see outside, the rest of the deck, right next to your father's fancy pen, actually. Not too far away. As soon as you close your eyes, you kind of just hit the wall of the cage. As if you just walked face first into it.
So, sorry, someone was literally banging on walls over
The
here.
fuck?
It's like, wait, that was not in game.
Actually, that was me.
Freaking shake the apartment.
It's fuck, what's it called?
Foley work.
Yeah. He's face
That's
first
right.
into the wall. And you don't hear anything, but you can just sense just amusement from Queen Titania in your mind.
Not a word.
But I didn't say anything.
Agitation. But she's gonna try one more time. But this time kind of brace herself with her arms so she doesn't go face first into a wall.
Okay, roll me a check again.
That is light back on, please. That's a 7.
You see, once again, you're able to stop yourself, but you just hit the wall one more time. Enough that you kind of shift the cage very slightly. That's how, like, much you're just stopped in your tracks. And you don't hear that same. You don't hear any laughter. But you do hear her pipe up in your mind as you kind of like flex your hands because they hit the bars really hard. Are you sure you want to get out? Because it really looks like you don't. Do you want to stay here forever?
You know, maybe if there were less comments from the peanut gallery, I could actually get it.
Are you sure, though? I mean, it looks like you aren't capable of it.
I am more than capable to get out of this cage. Okay. So, I'm gonna be real here.
Mm-hmm.
I know 100% this is not how this is supposed to work.
Okay.
Okay?
I
But I
am
have
willing
an
to hear
idea.
you out. This is Dreamland.
Yeah, exactly, because this is Dreamland.
Mm-hmm.
So the psionic blades are summoned, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to be in the hand, as far as I can tell. But you can create them in your hand, essentially. Can I kind of make a couple blades to like make a hole bigger, essentially, and like push out?
I will allow you to try. And I would say you can try.
Okay.
And I'm trying to figure out what check this would be. Maybe an Arcana? Or, because this is like. Psionics are weird to classify.
Yeah.
Like, what stat would you tie your psionics to?
I mean, technically the class is tied to Dex, but I mean, an int would make sense.
Generally, it'd
Mm-hmm.
be int or wisdom still.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll give you your choice between int or wisdom.
I'll take int, please. Int for 500.
Int for 500.
Is this a flat int or particular skill?
I will let you add your proficiency.
Sweet.
Because this is a weapon you are proficient in.
Sweet. Okay, what is this? Uh, 11. That's 14, I think. Wait. 6 plus 8. Yeah, 14.
Okay. So you see that you summon the two knives in between two of the bars, and you start to concentrate and get them to try and bend them open, right?
Mm-hmm.
As you're doing so, it kind of strains for a second, but you see that it kind of works. You see there's some slight movement in the bars, so it's possible. However, in this moment, it doesn't take long before you have to stop to take a breath, because that takes a lot of concentration. And you hear a small, like, I don't know, you feel a presence in your mind kind of doing a slow clap. And now you're thinking outside of the box.
Do I want to know if that was meant to be a pun?
It might be. But I have another question for you now. What would you have done if they walked in and saw you controlling daggers? The jig is
I
up, wouldn't it be?
I wasn't touching them.
No, you just had them summoned in front of you, prying open the bars to your very perfect room they've gifted you.
For all we know, it could have been some sort of intruder.
You'd really rather lie to them than tell them the truth.
I find that things are a lot easier if they hear what they want to hear, or if I give them what they.
Easier for who exactly? Can't be you.
I have the leash that they have on me has loosened up quite a bit over the years because I've been compliant.
Oh. Compliancy is going to get you nowhere. But what do I know? I'm only a queen.
She rolls her eyes. You know what? Since you're here, why don't you make yourself useful? Rosette's
Oh?
gonna Rosette's gonna try and open the cage again. But let's tap into those tides of chaos, yeah?
Okay. You tap into the tides of chaos. For this, I'll let you do this with advantage.
The first roll is a 4. That's not including the modifiers, that's just the roll.
Mm-hmm.
20. Really? Really? That's a 1. That's just a 1.
Ooh.
So 4, 5, 6, so that's 10.
Alright. You see, you try to tap into her, and you can feel, I guess, just chaos. It's like the force you're using was straightforward, moving in one direction, and as you tap into this presence in your mind, that forward force is still moving forward, however, it's spiraling a bit, slightly unstable, as you try to pry the bars open with the knives again. Unsuccessful as you feel that kind of chaos and spiraling of magic kind of just get ripped away for a second. She says, "Now that was a bit rude. You could have just asked politely. We could have worked out a deal."
Like I would make some sort of deal with you.
If it gets you what you want, I don't really see the harm in it.
You threatened to kidnap my friend. Again.
I didn't threaten to kidnap him. I just said that he's going to be returned to who he belongs to. Which technically he was given to me. So technically he does still belong to me.
And technically he still belongs to the Stelmar family. Because that's where he was born.
Are you certain about that?
His family has more claim over him than you ever did. And you ever will.
Oh, you know, you really are entertaining. I'm going to tell you a little secret. His family is the one that gave him away to me.
You really expect me to believe that?
I.
She's laughing. Like, you can't hear it, obviously, but like her body's shaking with laughter.
Have you forgotten who I am? I cannot lie. I can mislead and twist my words, but I cannot outright lie to you. His mother gave him to me.
Now that's an even funnier joke. Lady Stelmar is a kind-hearted woman. She would never.
If we're going to be connected here, you should start taking my words into account. I said his mother gave him to me.
What is that supposed to mean?
Exactly what I said. Now, let's focus on you for a second here because your parents are going to be back in the room in the next minute or so. Do you want to escape?
That is the preferred choice, yes.
Then I will help you on a condition.
I'm not agreeing to your help, but I'll listen.
I will give you the power to break these bars, to get free of your little bird cage. But that's if you don't hide the destruction. If you let them see the broken bars, if you stop trying to be this perfect little girl you never were, I will help you. After that, you can do what you want. You'll have gained at least some independence. But I want you to stop hiding.
She looks at the small dents she made, and I'm assuming it's nowhere near close enough to be able to climb through or try and
Mm-mm.
force herself through.
Nope.
What do you gain out of helping me?
Something I lack. Entertainment.
Of course.
You have 30 seconds before they walk through the door. I think you should make up your mind.
Just get me out of here.
Alright. And with that same kind of chaotic energy that you felt before that you kind of forcibly tapped into kind of just floods in you. And it's again being directed forward towards the bars. And imagine she uses her blades again.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. So you're going to roll with advantage and you're going to add 10.
Okay. Let's see. Ow. I just broke a nail. What the frick?
Oh no.
That's a 13. And a 9. So 13 plus 6 plus 10. So 29?
Describe to me how Rosette escapes.
Rather than just kind of trying to edge them in and then pull outward,
Mm-hmm.
and just the two, she summons 4.
Okay,
And
goddamn.
kind of, yeah, she pushes them straight into the bars. So, like, kind of making a box
Mm-hmm.
so that they're kind of embedded a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And using as much psionic energy, tapping into the sorcerer bit of her and that mass amount of chaos that Titania is lending her. She just kind of pushes as hard as she can and to kind of leave like instead of it's stretching outward, it's more pushed uh instead of it stretching kind of where the bar would touch bar, it's kind of like broken outward kind of thing. Like almost like it was punched through.
Alright. And as you just break open these bars, bending them, you just feel just utter glee in the back of your mind. And as Rosette steps out, there is the sound of the door opening. And then Rosette wakes up. In the tavern, in her room. Journal on her nightstand where she left it. And
Looking around, I
it's just your room.
guess it
Everything's
was a
normal.
dream. Yeah,
Yeah.
very strange dream.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of looks at her hands, looks around her. There's nothing like she didn't break anything in her sleep, right?
Nope. But your sheets are like tousled. Looks like you were twisting and turning.
She'll slowly get up and move back to her journal and spend a good amount of time writing what she encountered in her dream. Kind
All
of
right.
pondering what the frick was that.
That necklace, that chain with the ring on it, feels a lot heavier than it did previously.
It's all mental, right? Mentally heavier, right?
Sure. But that is where we will leave Rosette. And I am going to go. We're going to take a 5-minute break. Z, Kira, are you guys still there?
I'm still here.
Cool. You guys still good for Pharaoh side quest?
Sure, if you'd like.
Hell yeah. Why not? Yeah. 5-minute break. Be right back. Hello, I am back. Sorry about that.
Hello.
Joe needed help consulting on what to get himself foods. I kind of want pizza, then get pizza. But I don't want to get pizza. I don't fucking care. Anyway, sorry, that was my life for the past 5 minutes. Alright. So, I heard Akira. Do we have a Z?
Yeah, I'm here.
Cool. Alright. So, we can start off the next morning at the tavern. And we can say that Ashley left. Rosette hasn't come out yet. She's busy journaling a lot, probably trying to capture as much of it as possible before it escapes her mind. Clint's probably dead to the world. Haha. Pun intended. So it's just you two and Liv downstairs in the tavern in the morning before it opens. You can hear your only living employee in the backyard getting the dogs up and ready and feeding them.
Feyre is just, imagine, a little grumpy. Kind of settled into, like, rather than being at the bar where she normally is when other people are there, has settled into her favorite kind of corner booth that's a little bit more comfy.
Okay.
Whist is, I imagine, also at the bar. Uh, I imagine she's already had her allotted singular daily drink and is trying to choose which singular daily pastry to have now. This is a very vital decision, as I'm sure you'll agree.
Just a grumpy tiefling in the corner watching from the shadows. Slow slurp of something hot to drink.
Whist is like face against the glass as she studies the various baked goods, and then looks over at Feyre, thinks for a second, looks back over at Feyre. You can hear gears turning in this head as the decision is being made, and she quietly clears her throat, puffs herself up as if she's going to go do something very intense, and then just sits next to Feyre. Uh, Excuse me, but seems you're having a troubling morning, huh?
Just a little snort. I guess that's one word you can use for it.
Would you be liking to talk about it?
There's just a single eyebrow raise as she is looking Wisteria over. And, where exactly is the offering coming from?
Oh, well, you've all been so kind to me, and I just thought, well, since you were looking to be in a bit of a bad spot, perhaps I should see if I could listen and help a wee bit. Uh, I am a doctor after all, and it's not out of the question to assist in matters like these. And she's just kind of sputtering, but it's very well-meaning sputtering.
Feyre is still grumpy, but she is not turned more aggressive in any way. Just kind of tilts her head. Didn't think you were type of people were big on dreams.
God, are Fae big on dreams?
So I thought Fae were ones that like didn't, or am I mistaken? Fae don't sleep or don't? Do they also trance?
Wisteria's trances. She doesn't sleep. She kind of like dozes. She's like inherent that way.
Huh. I feel like we can go with the best of both worlds, where it's very rare, but technically they could. Technically, um,
When they are in the mood to sleep.
yeah. That's only if they like sleep. But I feel like it's very. I feel like it's possible that a fae can go their entire life without sleeping or dreaming. It's very normal to do.
Wisteria thinks for a moment and then, well, it isn't really common. We don't, we're not fond of sleeping the way that your kind are, but it's not unheard of. As a matter of fact, I had myself a wee dream this morning. It's part of why I'm being so. And then she just stops, puffs herself up again. Anyway, as I was saying, it has been known to happen from time to time. Were you having a nightmare then?
There's a brow that goes up again as she is listening to the stumbling and stuttering. She tilts her head a little bit. So, you were having some of them fun ones then too, weren't you?
I actually, I, I, I was meaning to ask you something about my dream. I fear it's highlighted something that I don't know, and perhaps I should.
There's just kind of a little nod of like, kind of go on.
Well, you see, in the dream, I, uh, well, it's a bit of a long story, but there, uh, um, can you teach me to throw a punch?
You just. Okay, we gotta change this music.
Sorry, I was reading something.
Dark ambient.
God rest ye merry. I didn't even notice.
um.
Better?
Yes. Farah kind of blinks for a second, and there's the very clear processing that you see on her face. And then she just starts laughing. And it kind of leans back in her seat a little bit as she is laughing. It is loud and hearty, but like it is not like mean. And after a second, she like kind of calms down a bit, and just shakes her head. I gotta say, that's gonna be the last thing I ever thought come out of your mouth.
I know. That's why I was asking. You see, in the dream, I wound up and I tried to move with it like you're supposed to, but well, my wrist bent a bit and it wasn't impressive. And well, I just thought you'd be the person to ask about it.
And she kind of nods a little bit. Well, how do everybody is gonna be here? We have to be me or Clinton. I wouldn't honestly trust Clinton to teach you most anything. Not that he would try, but man's gonna get distracted by a butterfly halfway through. And she kind of leans forward a little bit. Whoabouts were you punching?
Wisteria looks down, very shy all of a sudden. Um, well, as I said, it was a long story, but are you sure you, you sure you want to hear about that?
Yeah, it's a little bit important to know what type of punching you're needing.
Well, I punched her in the throat.
There is like that kind of like like semi frown type like, okay.
Well, it's just I knew I was only gonna get the one in, and I thought, well, if you're only getting one, you might as well aim for something delicate, like, and so I went for it. It was my sister.
Did Wist tell Feyre in their conversation about the sister back and forth?
I'm pretty sure she did
Okay,
it.
just double checking. Think I remember it, but I didn't want to like assume and be completely wrong.
Yeah, I think that Farah knows about Wisteria's sister, but not about the Cyrano situation,
Yeah,
as it were.
not the romantic angle, just the tension between the siblings.
Hmm.
And there is this like very slow, impish grin that comes across Feyre's face. You see just a little bit hint of those sharp teeth. Yeah, punching your sister in the throat. Yeah, we
That
can
was
only
seem
manage to
so.
do that in real life.
Oh, I could never. She's so. Well, she's well fit, and she'd never let me get it off if it was in person because she just. Oh, I don't know. She'd smack me, but just in case I had the opportunity, and she was acting the way she did in the dream, I thought, well, it'd be good to be ready.
Feyre nods. Yeah, I could figure out how to teach you a thing or two. At least you had the good instinct to go for the throat first.
That was that was all the medical instinct. You don't really need to breathe, but it does hurt. It's not a place you're accustomed to getting hit, really. Uh, are you sure it's not evil to go around punching your siblings in the throat?
And Feyre just kind of tilts her head a little bit. Well, I can't be necessarily a expert on that matter, but because I don't have no siblings of my own, of course, but had a few people that I considered close enough, and well, punching and kicking and biting were half of the experience of being youngsters.
Really? Well, when I was born, I looked like this.
Wait, you kind of don't have no like, and she just like gestures small.
Oh, we've our wee ones, of course, but no bairns. That's more of a human thing, really. But what we've got is, well, everybody's going the way that they need to be. So, uh, well, I've been like this probably longer than the city's been about.
I don't know if it's a blessing or not, because at least you didn't have to go through puberty, but at the same time, a little hard to reconfigure yourself if you ain't growing and changing.
Oh, well, in my case, there was no need. Um, but weren't you wanting to talk about your dream? Did it go a bit worse than mine?
And the kind of vague curiosity and confusion on Feyre's face immediately kind of chills a bit. And in fact, if she is sitting across from Feyre, there is a noticeable chill that just barely touches the air for a second. She is kind of, one lip kind of curls up a little bit. Well, that would be one way to say it.
Oh, well, if it's that bad and you'd rather, well, punch it out, we could do that. If you wanted, I mean, uh, I wouldn't want to upset you. Is I was just thought perhaps talking about it would help, but did it did it get a wee bit chilly in here?
And Feyre kind of blinks and straightens up just a little bit. Yeah, that would be my bad.
West, I imagine she's got her coat on and just sort of hugs the coat a little bit tighter around herself, you know, slumpy shouldered as she always is. Oh, it's nae worry. It's just I noticed it was a bit colder, and I thought perhaps it was some sort of uh, hole in the wall or something of the sort. But if it's just you, well, that solves that mystery now, doesn't it?
Feyre just, there's like a one shoulder shrug, and she'll lift a hand from where it was still kind of wrapped around the mug of like hot coffee, and will kind of turn it palm up in between them, and you just see the frost grow across her hand and fingers. One of the benefits, I guess you could say, of my bloodline.
Well, I suppose you've never got to worry about heat exhaustion, huh? Wisteria is smiling as if she's just said something extremely funny.
There's a very sharp look, and then a very weak smirk. She just kind of leans back again, frost disappearing from her hand as she wraps her hands around the mug again. The cage people you come from?
Was that, do they cage people?
Yeah.
I believe I have gathered from Rosette's dream that they do.
Uh,
Is that the
Rosette's
case?
dream. The cage was not Queen Titania's doing.
Yes, but there's also all the stuff with Ashley, I meant.
Ah, that's what you mean. Okay. I don't know if Ashley was in a cage per se. More so just, I don't know, not allowed to leave the premises.
Metaphorical cage.
Metaphorical cage? Yes.
Metaphorical cage, yes. Okay. Wisteria, who had worked herself up to attempting a joke, just sort of she shrinks a little bit, not because she's upset or anything, but because it's unpleasant to think about these things, and she worries what this might portend for her friend. So she uh, looks more serious. Why? Horrible thing.
There's just this kind of scrunch of the nose and shake of the head. Seems like everybody in every single plane out there just had the same bright fucking idea, didn't they?
I wouldn't call it bright. There's nothing bright about it.
There's a kind of a grunt of agreement. And she's quiet for a moment as she kind of takes a sip from her drink. Slowly puts it back down. You know, there's one thing I promised myself I was never going to be in. Never going to find myself in no cage.
Wisteria listens, and I imagine at this point she has probably selected a pastry, so she puts the plate down in front of herself, but she does not eat it. She's just listening.
Fair's just very pointedly not looking at Whist. Probably staring at, like, out a crack in one of the windows. Like, I imagine they shutter it at night once they're closed. But you can still see just a little sliver of the road outside and the city outside. Ah, cage is just about the damn near worst thing that you can have in the world, but, well, apparently some people think certain kinds of other people are supposed to be in cages.
Do they think that about tieflings?
And there's a look, just kind of studying Whist, and like a one-shoulder shrug. Depends on what kinds of tieflings you're talking about.
Wisteria thinks for a second, and she doesn't eat her food, but she does poke at it a little bit. Is I hope you don't mind me asking, but somebody looking to cage you?
And there's a little bit more of this like considering look, but rather than like trying to like judge Whist, it is more trying to figure out something that she doesn't really remember. really know. Maybe, maybe not. Might be all getting into my head.
Another moment of consideration from Mysteria. And your dream was about being caged.
And there's just a single nod.
Oh, oh, that is a terrible dream. I'm sorry to hear. But if it's any consolation, I know I'm not the only one who would say this, but I don't think any of us would abide seeing you taken that way.
And there's just a kind of sudden firmness as she like clenches her jaw a bit. And there's a set in her shoulders of some sort of decision that has been made that she is not voicing. And then she shakes her head. Wouldn't let him.
That, that's right, we wouldn't. Because we'd punch him in the throat, right?
And there is just a little kind of half second where she processes that, and then you get a kind of surprised, like, kind of choked laugh. Not expecting that.
Mysteria actually, like, smiles. And it's a really, really bright smile. And for once, like, you see her relax a little bit and her shoulders go back. And she seems happy.
Feyre just shakes her head a little bit after she has laughed for a moment or two. It's all just a dream, though. Ain't mean nothing, really. Just whatever I ate last night, I'm not gonna eat it again.
I'd eat it for you.
And there is amusement as she, like, looks at Wist. Yeah, I know you would, Seagull. Fucking pelican over there.
Mysteria points to the pastry that's in front of her. I've not eaten this one the whole time. I've got self control.
And she just, like, lifts a hand and, like, pinches two fingers together to where they're, like, she has a little bit longer kind of black nails, and there's a very small space in between them. Tiny bit of self-control.
Look, I can do it. Look. Asteria picks up the pastry and she stares at it. And there's gears turning behind her head as she opens her mouth. Teeth kind of uncomfortably fanged. And she doesn't like close her mouth so much around the pastry so much as she like moves the pastry toward her mouth, waits for it to get about halfway, and then just suddenly clamps down on it very quickly. And there's this moment where her hands stay near her mouth as if trying to wait, what about the rest of it? And then she very slowly, with obvious focus, sets the pastry down, interlaces her fingers.
Feyre just kind of watches a little, not sure how to react to this at first, where she just kind of like golf clap.
See? I can do it. I can have self-control.
Yeah, you can definitely do it once you focus hard enough. Now we're gonna have to see how you manage with an actual full plate of food.
Oh, well, that's never going to come up.
She snorts and just kind of leans back a little bit again, sipping on her coffee. Yeah. What'd you say once we're done here, we get you started on that first punching lesson?
Aye, that sounds like fun.
Feyre nods. Well, take her time in finishing her coffee. No matter how fast Wisteria decides to eat.
I feel like Wisteria doesn't have her pastry the whole time that Feyre's having the coffee. She only jams the pastry in her mouth the second that Feyre goes for the last sip. She's training.
Pacing. Figuring out how to pace.
This is all very difficult.
I don't like that you rolled something. It's not good when the DM rolls. But once they're done, I imagine Feyre will give Wisteria the option of either the backyard to the tavern with all the dogs around, or she probably knows some place that like she is comfortable, like closer to the docks. They would be more public, but also like that's where Feyre defaults to.
I think Wisteria would think this over, and if Feyre's more comfortable at the other joint, they'll go to the other joint.
Right.
Okay.
Head towards more open area closer to the docks. There's got to be a park somewhere that direction.
All right. So, I have a question for you. Do you guys just want to just keep rolling with the scene? Because I'm down. Or I have a random NPC side quest. But I think this scene is really cute.
How are you feeling, Z?
I mean, I'm down for either. However, it would also depend on how like quick that side quest would be. And you're getting a phone call.
Hi, sorry about that. I was listening. I found one that's relatively quick. At least I would hope it to be quick.
See, you say that.
Mm-hmm. I can never gauge.
None of us can. None of us can.
I'm fine with keeping the current scene going for the sake of
for transparency
one sessioning.
Yeah, for transparency here, what I thought of that I figured would assumedly be quick would just be, you get given a quest, and then you go have a conversation, and that's the quest.
Yeah, we can finish up this scene.
Okay. Cool. All right. So you said you guys are going for the park or
Yeah, I'll
For
park
the
near
docks.
the docks.
for the docks? All right.
There's got to be some sort of like open air, like park sitting area somewhere close by.
Mm-hmm.
Someplace where the sailors just hitting land for like 2 days to like actually go see grass, touch grass for a second.
Yeah. Fuck it. Let's just go with this.
Hey,
All right.
this is
So-
not a picture I've seen before.
Yeah, that's actually an actual statue. It's called the Hawkman.
I was gonna say that's Hawkman, Amy. Don't you fucking bullshit me. DC might forbid his use because his continuity is that convoluted, but I know that motherfucker.
There's a legitimate like Hawkman statue. Yeah, the statue is called the Hawkman.
That's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
The legally distinct Hawkman.
Mm-hmm. As you guys are walking, going towards the dock areas where sailors come out and go to different taverns. They come out, they touch grass. There's some nice little greenery planted around a couple of fountains in the area. There's some stalls making food and stuff. And I imagine Farah knows people. Mm-hmm. So, Farah, as you're walking through, people are like saying hi to you, saying, what's up, giving you the nod. And Whist, as you're walking with Farah, people are also acknowledging you as well.
Whist is shocked every time this happens and just sort of like reflexively walks slightly behind Farah whenever it happens.
Mm-hmm. They say hi to Farah, and they say hi to Farah's friend. Maybe some small talk here and there. You spot. Obviously, you spot a certain Heldar eating an apple on a corner. Looks like he's haggling with a fruit salesman in the distance.
She's not getting
Mysteria.
involved in that.
Yep. Mysteria just sort of purses her lips. Is he always eating apples like that?
And Sphere just sighs. Yeah, pretty much. I'm pretty sure he don't have much else in his diet. Except for apple-based things.
Ugh, just think of the protein deficiency.
Yeah, but still better than some sailors I know.
Mysteria looks at Farah with like just absolute shock.
And Feyre looks at her with this like, very like, what? And then after a moment is like, yeah, you don't hang around the docks very much, do you? You ain't seen a sailor come walking off with all types of disease because all he eats is hardtack.
I've seen them at the clinic, but I thought perhaps it was a matter of, well, a few bad apples. And not necessarily the whole lot of you.
I wouldn't say the whole lot of us, but there is a significant number that really don't care what they eat beyond just do I have rum for the sailing.
Mysteria looks down. There's got to be a better way than that. Some sort of something.
She kind of shrugs. There's different takes and different opinions on it. Most captains that are worth their salt's gonna be force feeding them something that actually does something good for them. Because a sloshed and hungry sailor is not much use. But yeah, there's always the captains that either don't care or are not paid enough to care.
What was your captain like?
Farah just kind of smirks. That would be a case of which one. Bit of a free contract myself. Whatever captain needs a slot to fill knows they need a good sailor, then they just hire me for a little bit.
Did you have a favorite?
And she kind of stops and you see her tilt her head considering. I need to. Why do I don't have this pinned in this chat?
What was
To
you looking for?
make reference. Well, there's two of them that I've been under more or less. Well, honestly, most of the time for the past couple of years, I either end up on Daldane's ship or on Ornoon's. Daldane's this. She's like gestures towards a like kind of like hand gesture, like half her height, like right around her waist. It's a stout, pretty friendly dwarf man. Knows what he's doing, knows how to get his money, knows how to run a crew pretty tight. A little bit on the excessive side when it's about entertainment and enjoyment, but runs a good crew. Ornoon runs a better crew, but me and her don't always see eye to eye.
Why is that?
She's used to absolute obedience with her sailors. That's what she appreciates the most, but I'm usually the one she hires because she knows sometimes she's wrong.
Ah. Wisteria just soft, somewhat sad smile. I know the type. We've plenty of those back at the courts. In fact, I would say most people are like that.
Yeah, but at least Ornoon's got the wherewithal to know that she needs to hire somebody who'll tell her no and tell her why.
Aye, that person usually dies at the courts. And we got to import them.
Farrah just kind of like furrows her brows a little bit. So you go around trying to collect people that are going to tell you no because you need to be told no, and then you just kill them anyway, so you have to collect more.
I don't. But it's now common to see that sort of thing. I always thought it was ghastly work. But, well, we get very bored very quick, and some of us think it's amusing to do that sort of thing.
Get bored really quick, yet you're still hanging around in your clinic after all these years.
It's really only, I think I was muted just there. Sorry. Did we decide how long was at her clinic?
That was a couple decades. That's what I heard.
Yeah, I think it was a couple decades. And if it isn't,
so, yeah.
then it
She's
is
been here
now.
a hot minute.
Then Wisteria just kind of laughs and goes, "Oh, I haven't been here too long. It's only been 2 decades."
Farrah Feyre just shakes her head slightly. Y'all with all them extended lifespans. Don't know if y'all are lucky or cursed.
Well, I'd say it's more the latter. Even though we get bored very quickly, our, well, delights are more violent, you might say. But mortals, shorter lived people. Look around. Look at everything you've done. It's beautiful here, isn't it? And everything is different from everything else. And every day, somebody's walking around and they've got their own story going, and they don't know where it's going to go. There are people who wake up and they don't know what they're going to eat for breakfast. They just make the decision on the spot. It's part of what I like so much about this place. Everybody's so lively. And I used to think that liveliness was the sort of thing you could only have when there was a bit of cruelty to it. But people aren't cruel here, not in the same way. They can be kind, actually.
Feyre is just kind of like looking around, nodding at a few people as they're passing. And she's like, kind of smiles. Yeah. Just about everybody in them has a little bit of good, a little bit of bad, a little kind, a little bit cruel. Even you and me. Hell, even all them fancy what's their faces in your court. Don't think you need to be mortal or immortal to have a little taste of both.
But it's so much more condensed here. As I go Irish, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I've been doing Irish for so long instead of Scottish.
You're
It's okay. It's
fine.
okay. You're fine. I didn't notice, I'll be honest.
It's so much. It's so much more condensed here. It's well. I think that the last 2 decades I've spent here have been more interesting and more fun than I had in all my centuries back home. It's part of why I don't want to go back.
You ever thought about poking around other places then?
That's the best part, Mysteria says. She brightens up and she holds up a finger as if she's come across a great eureka moment. This is just one city. There's hundreds of others that I haven't seen yet. And so if I get bored of this one, then I can just, well, I wouldn't want to pack up, but perhaps I could find somebody else to run the clinic for a wee bit while I kip off to another city and see what life is like over there.
There's a kind of, again, a little bit of an impish smirk on Feyre's face. And there you go, starting to sound like a sailor.
Really?
She kind of like does a little bit of a nod. Yeah, we all have our different reasons why and wants and desires, but just about all of us still want to see everything that we can.
Oh, then I guess I am a bit of a sailor.
Tell you what, if I ever manage to get my own ship, like I'll. Maybe one day, long in the future, might. You're always free to join at the dock.
Wisteria actually smiles, and as they're walking, she starts looking around the city and she steps out of Feyre's shadow just slightly. I think that sounds wonderful.
Fair enough. I'll just let a silence fall until they get to whatever park that she was planning on pointing them towards. Unless Wisteria has something else to say.
No, she's content.
Mm-hmm. As you guys arrive at the park, it's pretty small. There are some children playing over on the other end. You can't really make sense of the game. Looks like one of them has an item, maybe a rock of some sort. But they seem to be having fun and entertaining themselves. The only other people around are, an older couple sitting on a bench, just enjoying company. And as you all, sorry, as you two entered,
That is us all.
yeah,
Not wrong.
yeah. As you enter the park, List stepping out of Feyre's shadow. The sun feels very warm, and the breeze actually hits you directly, and it's not harsh at all. It kind of tickles your nose and cheeks a little bit as it moves some of your hair around. But it feels nice. It feels welcoming, even. And as you step into the park, there is a little shady spot by a tree. The grass feels very lush and soft under your feet as you step into what has now, for the two of you, become a training ring. Of sorts. Close enough.
I imagine Feyre will have probably brought along some bandages and such to kind of, not that she plans on either of them hitting particularly hard, but just to be on the safer side to like wrap their hands with. We'll show Whist how to wrap Knuckles to just minimize any potential damage and discomfort.
I imagine that Feyre hands Wisteria the bandages, and she just goes, "Oh, are you hurt?"
There's just a snort. No, bandages can be used for other things.
And I'm imagining Feyre's like wrapping hers as she says this, and Wisteria just blinks. Do you have a sprain? Because I can take a look. I didn't mind.
Whist, you wrap your hands like this if you know that you're going to be punching things to prevent the injuries.
Oh, but then how come I still see so many of them?
And Feyre kind of smirks. Because usually those, I'm assuming she's talking about at her clinic, right?
Yes.
Because usually those knuckleheads are not thinking that far ahead.
Thoughtful look from Wisteria. And she starts trying to wrap her knuckles, which I'm sure is going to go great for her.
Feyre's taking the time of like, okay, just like watch with this hand. Follow, like, do this step and wait. Do this step and wait. We'll go through the very basics of like, this is how you actually are supposed to curl your fingers so that you don't break any of them. Don't do this, do this. Try to hit with your knuckles first rather than your fingers. We'll just have Wisteria through the first, like, trying to understand her form and everything, just like punching at Feyre's hands.
Wist's capabilities can best be described as noodly. Just like no strength in the wrist whatsoever.
Oh.
She's doing her best, but it's just like it's not even like a pat pat pat. It's like pat pat pat.
Feyre, you've had a cat bap you harder than Whisk can punch you.
It's about the confidence and about the surprise. You don't even have to hurt people sometimes. They just get surprised that you punched them.
Yeah, like if we punch him in the throat.
Once.
Alright, Whisk.
Go ahead.
Can I see some unarmed strike rolls?
Oh boy, oh boy. Okay, wait, hold on. Let me grab my dice. Where did I put my dice bag? Oh, there it is. Okay.
And you know what, Farah? Same from you, actually. Let's see how well you can teach her.
Yeah, all right. What the fuck is your strength?
We are not meant to be doing this shit.
I know, right? Where
Hey,
the fuck
you want to learn how to punch? You go to the sailor. Sailors know how to punch.
Yeah, no, it's a legit strategy. Let's see, not these. These? Yes. Okay. Sorry
It's
for
like
the delay.
3 rolls from each of you.
3 rolls, okay. Alright.
I will average them.
Alright. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. A fucking -1 to strength. Love that for you, Wist. What the fuck do I add to my attacks in 5e?
If you are not considered, if that's not one of your like trained skills or anything, it's just your proficiency.
Okay.
For
you don't
unarmed
get
strikes.
Okay. So I would not get like a strength bonus if I had one or anything.
You would get a strength bonus if you had one, but I know that you don't. And whatever it is like your unarmed strike like hit, like actual damage is like 1 plus your strength.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
So
all
if
right.
it is possible for you to hit for 0 damage if you have a negative modifier.
Okay. So I got a 13. My proficiency is 3, so that's a 6, right? Do I take
16.
the 1 off? 16. Do I take the 1 off?
Yes.
Not
Okay.
from the to hit.
Yeah, it's plus your I think it is. I'm looking at Whisk's sheet right now, and her to hit is +2.
Oh, okay.
Oh. Okay. Well, that's
It's a +2 to hit with 0 damage.
Oh, Wisteria. So that's a 13, so total 15. Then an 11, total 13.
Okay.
Then a 1. There it is.
All right, that first one. We're gonna say that your first punch is the nat 1.
Okay, mine was a dirty 20, a 15, and a 21.
All right, pretty decent fucking teacher. I will say that Feyre, your expertise for that nat 1 roll, you saw that Wist was bending her wrist. Say that fucking a bunch of times. See that she was coming in with her wrist angled, kind of half bent, and you knew if she hits, that's gonna break her wrist. So you were able to just like softly catch the punch by moving your hand back, and you correct her and explain to her, don't do that.
Is not how we punch.
That's not how you punch. So, congrats. Feyre saved Wist from a broken wrist. However, I would say that with Feyre's guidance, eventually, Wist, you are able to land a solid hit. Now, Feyre, it doesn't hurt. However, the sound of it connecting is like right on point. It's exactly what you want to hear. There's good speed. It hits. You know, it connects fully. Her wrist isn't bent at all. However, you just feel that it didn't hurt in the slightest. But it hit.
Feyre,
do with that what you will.
Feyre, once she, like, the good solid punch is made, she like holds Wis's hand, like instead of letting her like pull away. What you did right there, that's exactly what you need to do.
Really? I'm getting it?
And she nods. That's the right form, the right angle. That is exactly what you need to be doing. So you need to remember what you did and keep doing that. And then we add on a little bit of something extra to make it actually something for other people to be worried about.
Are you saying they're not worried yet? But I thought I was doing it.
She just kind of like tilts her head one way and the other, back and forth. You're doing the right thing. However, and I can say this as I am also not the strongest person out there. When you ain't the strongest and you're trying to punch, you gotta be a little bit tricky with how you're punching. More specifically, where you're punching.
Oh. There's a moment of understanding from Wisteria and like this excitement that she had from landing a punch. Like you can see it kind of turning into a determination right before your very eyes as somehow over the course of this, Wisteria has started standing a little straighter. And I feel like because she slouches so much, she is a little taller than people think she is. And she kind of just punches her hand a couple times, trying to see the angles of how her knuckles hit her palm. Right, so I've got to aim for the right places, and I've got to be tricky, but not, well, maybe a bit deceitful. I think it's allowed in this case. Yeah, I think it's allowed in this case.
Fair enough. You already got one of the places that you know that you can be punching and actually doing something. Like I said, throat punch is a hell of a way to start.
Where else should I be aiming?
Well, Miss Doctor with all the medical knowledge, what do you think on the front of a person? And Feyre just kind of like stands, like arms kind of outstretched for like her, essentially with the like implication of like, okay, look at me. This is what your target is. Where would you punch?
All right. Wist, roll me a medicine check.
A medicine check. I'm a lot better
Mhm.
at that. Let me see. So I've got a 6 in medicine. It says here. Thank you, sheet. What the fuck is that? Okay, that's a 6. I rolled a 12, boss. Not very impressive in this light.
No, but the DC was not high. She is a doctor. You have passed. Now, it's kind of, for a second, it kind of shocks you, Wist, because you are a doctor. You are trained to heal people, to help people, to make injuries go away, to make scars, like, make it look like they have never happened before. And as Feyre kind of like, I guess, poses?
Yeah, essentially T poses in front of her.
Yeah. And as she stretches out her arms in front of you and she asks you where would you want to hit, it kind of dawns on you that as a doctor, you have all this information on how to best heal people. However, that same information can be used to figure out where it would hurt the most. And it takes you a second, and your brain it kind of feels like the room tilts slightly, where you kind of realize with a jolt that, yeah, there's a lot of overlap between knowledge of someone who heals and someone who harms. And you're seeing that overlap now, as all the places where it's bad if someone gets hurt. In this context, that's where you want to aim. And you're seeing them all kind of pop up all over Feyre of that's where that organ is. the least protected, you can get hurt very easily there, now becomes a if someone's chasing me, I need to hit there to slow them down. It turns to if someone corners me and gets too close, hitting them right in their solar plex, right below their rib cage, right above their stomach. That's going to stun them. That's going to make it so they can't breathe. And all of this information is kind of compiling in you as you look at Feyre and kind of realize, oh, you have a lot of knowledge that you can use here.
I feel like this detective vision moment that Wisteria gets is very evident on her face as she just looks Feyre up and down, and then touches her wrapped hands to, well, one of them, to her lips and thinks, tilts her head a bit. Well, I suppose I'd go for the solar plexus, and if not that, then your kidneys are right here. Terrible thing to take a hit to the kidneys. You'll be pissing blood for weeks. And then over here, well, the heel, if you can get to the heel or the back of the knee. Whoosh, that's terrible. And there's this artery right over here. She's just listing these things out very nerdily, pointing to each of them in turn from a distance.
And Feyre listens for a second, and as she continues to go, it goes from arms outstretched, kind of T-posing, to hands on hips. And then you just see her head tilt all the way to one side. Look at you, ain't you starting to become a little bit of a rogue yourself?
Well, thank you. I know a little, but I've picked it up from the clinic and working with some folks. But I, I guess I am. I guess I have, huh?
And Feyre nods. Oh, that knowledge in you might actually be a decent fighter if you actually want to go after somebody. You just gotta remember, you might be able to punch the solar plexus. And she will kind of thump herself in the right spot. But she also wears a kind of thick leather half corset. So she'll kind of side of her fist thump herself in the right spot, but then will twist and tap the corset. But you also gotta look at every single person and see what they have that's gonna stop you from doing that.
Oh, that's a good point. Should I be talking to Smiths as well? Or perhaps just visiting? I don't really like using too much metal, so
I mean, at least
um,
knowing what the different types of armors look like might be useful, yeah. But some of the places you were talking about, like the heel and the knee and everything, those just about always are uncovered, but they ain't gonna do much with a fist. You gotta have something sharp.
Wisteria uh, smirks. Well, I am a pretty good shot with the bow, if I do say so.
Fair nods. Yeah, I remember the arrow sticking out of the big guy yesterday.
Wisteria immediately brightens. You do? You saw that?
Fair just kind of taps the side of her nose a few times. Yeah, you learn how to keep an eye on whoever you're attacking real good and real close.
Wisteria, it's as if you have handed her a gift on Christmas Day. And she's like, I didn't expect anybody to notice. That, oh, nobody's. Thank you.
And there's just this a little calmer, a little more serious as Freyr's looking West over. here for, what, 20 years? 20 plus?
More or less.
I'm starting to think you don't know mortals very well. We might be a little bit faster at the gun. But we notice a whole bunch. A lot of people in this city know you.
Wisteria just like it. There's a clear war going on behind her eyes between wanting to acknowledge that that might be true and that, you know, plenty of people have said hello to her even on this short walk. And there's this reflex that bubbles up, this that can't be true. And it takes her a second. You can see the lines of her jaw and her brow as she works. And I. Yeah. People. They have said hello to me, haven't they? And I suppose they do know me. Uh, although most people think I'm a wee bit strange.
Yeah. Everybody thinks everybody else is strange. That's part of being immortal, too.
Moment of consideration. And then, yeah, this is. This has been really nice, actually. I think. And then she laughs. I think maybe punching Camellia in the throat has been the nicest thing I've done for myself this whole time.
There's a snort and a chuckle. Yeah, from what you said, she sounds like she deserves it, even if it's just in a dream.
Wisteria reflexively looks around before she speaks again, and then, well, maybe a wee bit. Just the one.
And there's just this look. Yeah, I think a little bit more than just the one.
She considers for another moment, still looks around. Okay. Alright. Perhaps two, maybe three. And, well, I did slap her in the dream as well. Cracked her right across the face. You should have seen the look on her.
And there's just a low whistle. Oh, I knew that you were so feisty in your dreams.
Well, you should have heard her. What she was going on about. That she said that she could do surgery as easily as she could wave that sword of hers about. That it was a simple thing. That if I could do it, anybody could.
Well, now we know that if she's saying things like that, either Faye can lie or she's really good at lying to herself.
To be honest with you, I think it's the latter. You see, Camellia, nobody really says no to her. Ever. She's not got any reason to believe there's anything she can't do because, well, Titania likes to puff her up and say she can do this or she can do that. And sometimes, between you and me, they move things around so that she can do them. And she waltzes in and just, well, it'd be like putting a sword through a paper target. But She thinks she's a proper expert in the matter.
There's just a snort, and Feyre. There's again a impish kind of grin. Yeah, he'll come around the inn, or even hell, around the dock sometimes. I know more than enough sailors are willing to teach her that she can't do much of nothing.
Wisteria laughs. Now there's a thought. But she really is good in a fight, though.
Yeah, good in a fight don't mean the best.
And, well, some of the weaponry you guys have out here, I don't think she could do anything about a gun.
Again, there's the impish grin kind of comes back. Yeah, that might make her think a little bit longer about messing with nobody. Hell, let her get shot by a blunderbuss too, and thought your graces and power with the surgery might leave her with a pockmark or two to keep the lesson fresh for her.
There's another sort of shy, almost guilty laugh from West. Oh, she'd, she'd hate that.
Feyre just kind of stretches where she's standing, kind of looking around at the rest of the park and back at West. So, seems you feeling a little bit better after the dream.
Wisteria nods, and she's still like standing taller. Like this is certainly like the most confident I think that Feyre has ever seen West look. And like I think that when she's this happy and confident, she almost looks a bit like a different person. Not entirely, but it's very much like I guess how certain men when they shave, it's just like who the fuck is that? And there's a bit of that with a confident West, I like to imagine, because she's just so meek and shoulders down and just you know very sad all the time. So I think that seeing her with a different expression on her face is something that's very notable in this case. Um, and she nods happily and stretches and then puts her own puts her own hands on her hips. I think I'm a proper pugilist now.
There's a snort and a shake of the head, like, don't go getting ahead of yourself, but you might be able to make somebody think twice, so long as you keep practicing.
Do you want to do this next week too?
Feyre just kind of like looks around again. Yeah, another excuse to come down this way. Won't say no to that.
Wisteria nods happily. Ah, yeah, that'll be fun then. And someday I'll be able to clock somebody right in the jaw. She shadow box punches a few times.
And Feyre just kind of snorts. Yeah, we'll see about that. Don't necessarily know you won't be looking for that one, but it'll certainly be a sight when it does happen.
And what about you? Are you feeling better?
There's a kind of shift in her stance, and She looks away again, very distinctly in the direction of the ocean. Yeah. I always feel better when I get a little bit closer to water.
Wisteria nods again, very smiley. Good. See, that's another reason why we should keep doing this.
She nods. Eh, and given a couple weeks, I might actually teach you how to actually use a knife.
A knife?
Figure just kind of looks at her. You say like you don't know what a knife is? I know for a fact you know what a knife is.
I've got 6 of them on my head.
Yeah, I don't think you want to be headbutting nobody. That's going to turn out worse for everybody all around.
Are you sure?
Yeah, unless you're headbutting a pigeon that's going to die on the horns, yeah.
I'm just thinking of a fucking pigeon, dude. I think Wisteria thinks about this very seriously for a moment. Oh, okay. Nae headbutts, nae headbutts. I can keep that in mind. It's not too hard. Nae headbutts. Alright. Well, did you work up an appetite?
I could do with some food. Got a hankering?
Wisteria looks up at the sky, thinks for a second. We've spent how long? How long have we spent here, Jam? Like a couple hours, I figure.
I'd say at least an hour, maybe 2 or 3, depending on how long you guys want to stay here.
Yeah. Wisteria looks at the sky. We spend 2 hours. That's. I'll be starving for long.
Yeah. What does a pelican feel about soup?
Soup? I haven't had much in the way of soup, but I'm eager to learn.
Feyre will nod, start taking the bandages off her fists. I know of a little shop right on the docks over there that has a decent little stew. Simple, good crusty bread with it, but always seems to hit the spot.
Wisteria nods. Then let's away, and I'll pay for it. As long as they'll trade.
There's a little bit of a grin again. That one I think you might actually be able to work something out with.
There
Especially if
are
you're willing to, you know, heal up a black eye or two.
there's shoujo sparkles in Wisteria's eye at the thought of, wait a second, I might actually be able to bargain here. And she looks in the direction Feyre indicated and then just slowly pivots back to Feyre. You know, I think you sailors might just be a pretty good lot.
Feyre just grins again, a little bit brighter, a little less impishly. You know, I keep telling people that, none of them believe me.
Well, next time it comes up, you can call on me as a witness.
I will head towards a little food stall by the docks.
A little food stall by the dock. You do see some pigeons on the way there, though.
Wisteria thinks about it. She very clearly thinks about it.
Okay, Pigeon Hunter.
You look at one for too long and it spooks them and they fly off. I imagine they don't give a shit about people, but I feel like it sensed the intent.
It's like, wait a second. Wait a fucking second.
I don't like the way that one's looking at me. We guys get to your little food stall, and of course they greet Feyre like an old friend. And they do say hello to Whist. And Whist, true to Feyre's words, you can barter with these people for a couple bowls of soup and a plate of bread, and maybe a drink or two. What does she give up? What does she would like to barter?
Asteria is more than happy to offer healing services. Let's see what else she can fucking find to give to these people.
These are sailors that are like, I should say, dock workers that are also cooks. There's no way in hell that they don't have a couple of burns and cuts that they can use fast healed up.
Yeah, she's for sure offering that. Let's see what else she's got cooking here. All right. A couple of toy crossbows.
You want to see that for her little soldier guys?
No, these are slightly different size. They would be ballistae in the arms of her soldiers. Let's see. Yes, so toy crossbows, and okay, this was actually kind of cool.
Okay.
She pulls out a small bar of metal, and it's like a solid bar of metal. This thing is heavy. Has she been carrying this around the whole time? Probably.
She found a little spot for it.
But the metal in question is, I'm looking at it right here, a metal only mentioned in ancient literature.
What? Is that what it literally says?
That's what it literally says. It says, as a matter of fact, a small bar of orichalcum, a metal only mentioned in ancient literature.
Where the fuck did she get that?
Where indeed?
What? I mean... what the fuck?
That
What am I
like
getting for that, Chief?
that we need to know that you have, because that's gonna be worth a lot.
That will be worth a lot, I assume, if it's like fucking ancient literature or super fucking rare metal.
I love the idea that she's trading this and she takes it out and is just like, and like she sees them pog at it a little bit and she's like, what about free meals forever? And she thinks that's a fair trade.
It's fucking fantasy vibranium is what she's got.
Yes, she's trading fantasy vibranium.
Honestly, I'm tempted to let you keep that.
Because I rolled it.
Yeah, because you rolled it. If Feyre stops List, because it seems like, oh, a doctor. They're already like chatting with each other, all like, okay, cool, we can trade like food for services. They seem to be well for that deal.
Sees this bar of metal get produced and is like, let's put that back in the pocket.
But they look so happy to see it. Don't you think that we could get maybe 3 meals for life?
You can get a lot of things for that. And a lot of things that might be a little bit more useful.
Why? It's just a piece of dumb metal.
I know you ain't much of one for metal, but a lot of people around here actually like their metals, and some of them are really hard to find.
Well, I just like the...
You feel like shinies, though, right?
We do, and I admit, that's what drew me to this one. It's got a nice luster to it, doesn't it?
Imagine some of them gems that you like that are so rare you only see it once in a lifetime. That's what you just pulled out of your bag.
Wisteria looks at the bar, quietly tucks it back into her bag, looks at Feyre. I got that for setting a man's nose once.
Oh yeah, apparently that man also had a concussion because he did not realize what he had.
Wisteria lets out a low whistle and then just turns back toward the chefs and she's like, just the medical services today.
The chefs were speaking with each other and kind of, it seems that they have essentially taken inventory of their injuries while this was happening. So they did not notice the metal that was just produced from her bag. When they turn, and it's just to give a nod, and essentially a deal, trade deal. If you come in and you treat our injuries, you get free food.
Wisteria is very pleased with this and will get out her little notepad and start to write out the formal agreement.
Mm-hmm. How about for every injury you treat is a meal that day? So in theory, if she treats 5 injuries that day, she can get meals for the whole squad. So if she wants 2 meals for her and for Feyre, she needs to treat 2 injuries.
Wisteria will happily do that. But then, as she's setting out to do this, she turns back toward Feyre and she's like, are you feeling famished for scrum? Or just a bit peckish?
Just a bit peckish. Want to leave them desiring more services in the future.
Wisteria nods and heals exactly 2 injuries.
All right. You take the time to go ahead and treat 2 injuries. You see that someone needed stitches on their arm. Looks like there was a bit of a knife accident while they was cutting vegetables, but nothing that some bandages and maybe a stitch or two for the deeper parts before they're all. The other one looks to be a bit sick, a little green in the face. Nothing that little herbal remedy can't heal right up. It doesn't take you long before you guys are given your 2 meals of choice. Some really hearty and warm soup with some very warm bread that they have made fresh just for you.
Imagine the entire time that this is going on, Feyre has sat herself kind of angled more towards the sea and the ships and everything, is just watching and waiting, vibing.
Her favorite music is playing the ocean.
Yep.
Hysteria comes back out with the food, puts it down, and then does not eat hers immediately. But she does stare at it a little bit. And she's like, right, there we go. 2 meals at a fair and decent price. And perhaps a bit of money in the middle to go along with it.
Feyre just kind of looks at her, sees her staring at her food. If you really want to just gulp it all down, I'm not going to stop you. You know that, right?
It does not take anything else than this. It's a very say less situation. As she just picks up the bowl of soup and just tilts the whole thing down her throat all at once. Scalding hot.
Does she care about the heat?
I think she might care about the heat because she doesn't have heat resistance.
All right, List. They made it fresh for you, which means it smells fucking amazing. However, as you go to your usual, what Farah has dubbed pelican, as soon as it touches your tongue, you have to put it down. It burns so much. There's a glass of water right there for you. It's very convenient.
Wisteria, like, scalds her tongue and then immediately just picks up the water and downs all of the water in one go instead.
Ice cubes too?
Ice cubes too.
Fair, just kind of like is watching this. Like I imagine has dipped some of the bread in, is like has it like halfway to her mouth, but is now entranced by this. Like, what the fuck?
It's hot.
Mm. Yeah, that soup tends to be hot.
It's so hot. Why'd they make it so hot?
Because when you eat it slow, it starts to cool off, so you gotta make sure that it is hot enough that it is still warm by the end.
And you can't take all of it at once.
I mean this with all the utmost respect, but you're just about the only person I know that eats everything in one go.
There's a frown on Wisteria's face, a small frown, not at what was said, but at the betrayal of the soup. As she looks down at the soup and waves air on her tongue, which is still kind of scalded.
Feyre
And
just will pick up a piece of bread and offer it.
Wisteria looks at the bread and then sticks her tongue in the bread.
Yep, that. And after a second, like Feyre will look towards towards Wis's bowl of soup and like hold out a hand in its direction. Might I?
Wisteria nods with the bread still like pressed against her mouth.
I imagine she like kind of reaches over and like spreads her fingers so her fingertips are like all on the edges of the bowl, but she is not touching any of the soup. And you just see frost go down her arm, down her hand, and to her fingertips. And there's a moment of kind of steam, and then she takes her hand away, having cooled the soup.
Wisteria looks at the bowl now and then just touches the edge of it with a finger because she's learned a small lesson. She has learned don't put your hand on a hot stove. And when she finds it cooler, she downs the whole thing again. This time, I imagine, has a much easier time of it. And then puts the bowl down and looks back at Feyre. Thank you. That really was delicious. Once I got it.
I'm so impressed that you managed to actually taste anything when you eat like that.
Well, I tasted all, but all at once. It's more efficient.
And Feyre just kind of tilts her head one side then the other. Yeah, but efficiency ain't always what everything's about.
So, does it taste better when you eat it more slowly? Then
Maybe not better, but in a different way.
Wisteria thinks for a second. If I order a second soup and eat it slowly, Will you chug that whole soup?
Feyre blinks, looks down at the soup, and there's just like a chuckle, and she shakes her head. As much as I do try to go back and forth with you, I don't think that is physically possible for me.
But you haven't tried it.
I haven't tried it because if I am right, then I'm going to be throwing up, and I really don't think I want to be doing that.
Wisteria thinks for a second. Aye, chucking's no good. Alright, but she waves over at one of the people and orders another soup, and then looks to Feyre. If you'll be excusing me for a moment, I just got to go pay for this.
Heal another wound.
Walks into the room, and I imagine it's like, okay, which one of you? First one, first served.
Yeah, man.
Sorry, Mr. Amy was talking to you for a second.
Mysteria's ordering a second bowl of soup.
All
So
right.
she's running back into the kitchen to heal someone.
Running back into the kitchen to heal someone. Well, someone, while you guys were gone, got burned. So their fingy hurts. Their finger is burned, so, you know, I imagine she has like a burn balm that she keeps in her medical supplies. Wraps a bandage on it. One more bowl of soup for you. Fucking.
That was the sound he made when he burned himself.
Yeah, that's exactly what the sound was.
She comes out with the soup, and then this time she like picks up the spoon, and she looks at the soup, looks at the spoon, dunks spoon in soup, and then takes a very small bite.
And Feyre is like just kind of watching her. Has been just like very slowly eating her own bowl this entire time, and just gives a little nod. Flavor's gonna change as it changes temperature. And part of the enjoyment of food, at least when you got somebody you're talking to, is generally the longer you take to eat, the more you get to talk to the person.
Oh. Huh. I think I understand that now. And you like I feel like Feyre's seen Wisteria handle a scalpel with expert precision, needles with expert precision, a whole bunch of things that really require very delicate hand-eye coordination. But she's just sort of holding the spoon like she's a toddler. She's trying though. She's trying.
Feyre's not gonna comment on it.
Full fist around the handle.
It's full fist around the handle. Full fist around the handle. And every few bites, you see her doing the. She tries to really pay attention to the differences, and I think that as they eat, she will remark upon them at times.
Does she try it with the bread?
I think
Feyre.
I think if she sees Feyre do it, she will. Yes.
For a second, a passerby would see two friends just having a normal meal. None the wiser to what Whist is usually like.
Feyre's gonna tell the others she saw Whist eating normally. They're gonna be like, that didn't happen.
It picks her, it didn't happen.
Feyre is going to teach Wisteria to behave more like a mortal Slowly but surely.
All right. Anything else you guys want to do on your little excursion?
What are you feeling, Z?
Uh, I mean, I imagine Feyre is going to take an opportunity to like go walk on like a stretch of beach or something at some point. But that is
Mm-hmm.
up to Wist if she's tagging along for that.
I think she wouldn't mind.
I don't think Feyre is going to go talk to anybody, but she is going to, you know, shoes off, feet in the water type thing.
This is where I reveal that Wisteria also has hooves. No, I'm joking. Do you guys remember? At one point, Clint was like, "I could have sworn you had hooves." Was Joe making an inherent joke?
Nice. Alright. So does Wish join Feyre on her little beach walk?
Yeah, I think that if she's not, if it doesn't seem as if Farah wants to just have time to herself, then Wist will just quietly accompany her.
Yeah, well, Feyre's not like chasing her off. It's just like, I'm gonna go to the beach now.
Mm-hmm. And as you guys get to the beach, it's still a really beautiful day. The water is very nice and refreshing as you kick off your shoes and wade into it a bit. Now, Wist, have you ever done this before? Like, done that? Wade into water just for funs?
I don't think so. Because I don't think she spends very much time on the beach or at the shore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think she's usually been worried about, like, the sand getting everywhere. Even though, like, she's a doctor, so she's been elbow deep in guts before. But I feel like there's some residual beauty court fey about her where she's like, it's gonna get in my toes and I'm never gonna be able to get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
But she's braving that now. This is a brave Wisteria.
Yeah, brave Wisteria. Shelby had a couple people come into the clinic because they got, like, cut by a crab. Because they were doing this, probably.
Those fucking crabs, man, they'll get you every time.
Mm-hmm. And as you two just wade in the water, enjoying the fresh air, the sun, the water, the waves crashing against the beach, idle chatter from people around you. Feyre, you feel very at home here in the water. In fact, even more so than usual. The water feels very, very refreshing. And it kind of makes you feel better. Kind of makes you feel even more refreshed than it usually does. And you gotta think back to that dream you had. But nothing of note happens. Some seagulls fly by. Not paying you guys too much mind, but they do squabble over a crab a bit away from you guys. That kind of fights them off for the most part. And I think that's a very, very nice, sweet place to end the little Feyre West excursion.
Yeah, I think this is a lot of fun.
You guys probably join back up with the others, heading back after your day out.